On September 19, 2023, Disney announced that they would be investing $60 billion over the next decade into expanding the domestic and international parks and the Disney Cruise Line. Since Disneyland opened in 1955, Disney have increased the park's capacity by opening new attractions, restaurants and shops in expansion plots. These have included the addition of Haunted Mansion in the 1960s at Disneyland, Pirates of the Caribbean in 1973 at Magic Kingdom, Norway in 1988 at Epcot, Sunset Boulevard in 1994 at Hollywood Studios, Expedition Everest in 2006 at Animal Kingdom, and Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland in 2019. With this investment announced, let's explore where the current expansion plots are at the Disney parks worldwide. Let's start in Magic Kingdom, which has several areas that were nearly expanded into, but the projects were cancelled. In the early 2000s, Fire Mountain was planned to be located south of Pirates of the Caribbean. The land is still vacant and a potential place for an Adventureland expansion. A small expansion plot is located east of Main Street USA, which would have been home to the Main Street Theatre announced in 2017, but that never came to be. The former location of Stitch's Great Escape still sits vacant, so could be the home of a new show or small attraction. The final major expansion plot is located north of Big Thunder Mountain, with a second plot just north of Small World. At the 2022 D23 Expo, Disney teased that they were working on ideas for Beyond Big Thunder Mountain, although they were in the early stages of planning and nothing had been set in stone. Over at Epcot, World Showcase is the main site for expansions, yet at the front of the park there is an expansion plot between the land and the seas with Nemo and Friends, which could potentially be the future location of an expansion to World Nature. In World Discovery, the former Wonders of Life Pavilion would have been the location of a play pavilion. However, that project has been cancelled, meaning it could be a location for a new expansion. In the World Showcase, there are 4 expansion plots for potential new countries to be added, although the last country was added in 1988. One is between Morocco and Japan, one is between Italy and Germany, and 2 between Germany and China. One of these is currently occupied by the Outpost and would have been the location of Equatorial Africa. Also behind the Germany Pavilion is an expansion plot that would have been where the Rhine River Cruise would have been built, so maybe another Germany attraction could go there instead. Of all the Walt Disney World parks, Hollywood Studios is the most landlocked and has very little space to expand. Located between Sunset Boulevard and Animation Academy are a lot of backstage buildings, including the offices of the Walt Disney World executives. If these buildings can move somewhere else on property, it will free up the land for a new area of the park, whilst also creating a loop between Toy Story Land and Sunset Boulevard. There is also an expansion plot just west of Galaxy's Edge for a potential expansion to the Star Wars themed land. Over in Animal Kingdom, we know that Disney is working on a Tropical Americas themed land to replace Disneyland USA, using the expansion plot made by the demolished Primeval Well and located behind Disneyland USA. There are also a few expansion plots available too. Just south of Pandora, the world of Avatar, is a small expansion plot, enough space to provide a third attraction to the land. A larger expansion plot is located just north of Asia, large enough for a whole new land or another large-scale animal exhibit similar to Kilimanjaro safaris. We'll depart Walt Disney World and head over to the Disneyland Resort, where there are plans to expand outside of the current berm for both parks. Disney are currently campaigning to change the zoning of the resort so they can convert current parking lots into Disneyland Forward, 2 new expansion plots that will be connected to Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. Outside of Disneyland Forward, Disneyland has a similar expansion plot to the east of Galaxy's Edge, which could provide a new attraction to either Galaxy's Edge or Toontown. There is also a small expansion plot between Main Street and Tomorrowland, which was originally planned to be home to 2 mini-lands called Liberty Street and Edison Square. Across the street at Disney California Adventure, there is an expansion plot located to the east of Avengers Campus. which will be the home of the Avengers Multiverse attraction announced at the 2022 D23 Expo. Also, the Hollywood backlot currently contains a lot of vacant buildings, a possible location for another park expansion. We'll head over to Disneyland Paris next, which has a lot of vacant expansion plots, with there not being a new attraction at Disneyland Paris since Buzz Lightyear in 2003, and no expansion since 1994. Just north of Indiana Jones et le Temple of Peril, there is an expansion plot that was originally a placeholder for an Indiana Jones adventure attraction. Over in Fantasyland, there is an expansion plot behind Bella Notte Pizzeria, which was originally planned to be the location of a Beauty and the Beast animatronic show. Opposite Bella Notte, there is an expansion plot that would have been the location of a Little Mermaid dark ride. Across the street, Walt Disney Studios Park is receiving a major overhaul, including a lake expansion and the addition of a World of Frozen. The lake is also designed to have 3 expansion plots, one of which was supposed to be a Star Wars land, but that has been cancelled. There are another 2 expansion plots, so the park may receive 2 new lands in the next decade. Over at Tokyo Disneyland, there aren't many areas for the park to expand. There is a small section on the far west side of the park behind Space Mountain and Enchanted Tales of Beauty and the Beast, but that might be incorporated into Space Mountain's overhaul. Over at Tokyo Disney Sea, the park is currently receiving its largest expansion, Fantasy Springs, to the northwest of the park, bordering Tokyo Disneyland. There is another expansion plot just south of Lost River Delta, which could be home to another port at the park. Let's head to Hong Kong Disneyland, which opened the World of Frozen expansion on November 20th, 2023. Between the World of Frozen and Toy Story Land, there is an expansion plot big enough for another new land. Over in Tomorrowland, Autopia was closed in 2016, so a new Avengers e-ticket attraction could be built, dividing Tomorrowland into Tomorrowland and Stark Expo. Construction on the attraction has yet to begin, but the former location of Autopia is still available for an expansion. Finally, we'll head to Shanghai Disneyland, which is set to open as Zootopia Land in 2023. To the east of Zootopia, there is another expansion plot large enough for a new land. Also behind Fantasyland is a large parcel of land which could be home to several new lands. The final expansion plot could be the Story House stage, which currently sits vacant now that Tarzan Call of the Wild closed in 2019. Now that we've explored all the potential locations for expansions at the Disney parks worldwide, what new lands and attractions do you think we'll receive over the next decade? We know we'll be getting something beyond Big Thunder Mountain at Magic Kingdom, and a Tropical Americas themed land at Animal Kingdom. We also know that Avengers Campus will receive a third attraction at DCA in the near future, and that Tokyo Disneyland Space Mountain is going to receive a major overhaul that will open in 2027. Apart from that, the world is Disney's oyster. Each resort will receive some new addition over the next 10 years, and we as guests will get to experience these new attractions. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below on what you want to see next on the Distory channel.